Today we're reviewing the Solidteknics Aus Ion 35cm Wok in the satin finish. Now the satin finish is basically a sandblasted version of the wrought iron range, which helps a little bit with the seasoning. You can also get the raw version, which is a little bit cheaper if you're familiar and comfortable with seasoning pans. My preference would be the smooth finish, as it cuts out an unnecessary manufacturing process for the company, provides the pan at a cheaper cost for the consumer, and ultimately results in the same finish. In terms of the juicy tech specs, the wok is 2.5mm thick, which allows for a great mix between temperature control and heat retention. As this is likely to be used in a home environment, the thickness allows you to get the wok very hot and retain that heat throughout the entire cooking process. The wok is 34.5cm in diameter with a bowl height of 7.5cm, providing an adequate 4.5 litre capacity. My recommendation would be get this one if you are cooking for at least 2 people, as from my experience it's much better having a slightly oversized wok so you can toss your food around a little bit without spilling it everywhere. So far my experience with the wok and Solidteknics products in general has been pretty great. As you can see, it's a pretty sweet looking pan and people are usually pretty envious when I whip it out for a quick meal. The satin finish looks pretty amazing with its golden appearance, and it does help a little bit with the seasoning at the start. However, it's the cooking process which really matters here. I've been cooking with it for a few months now, and it's my go-to for stir fries, fried rice, shallow frying, and any type of seafood that I need to quickly sear to lock in the flavour. Before you start using the wok, or any other bare iron cookware for that matter, you need to season it. Seasoning is simply baking oil onto the iron in a process called polymerization to prevent rust and to create a natural non-stick layer. This is the beauty of cooking with iron, in that if you scratch it, you can renew the surface with little effort. As you can see here, I'm rubbing a very light coat of rice bran oil into the wok, ensuring to get the entire surface, including all the little hard to get places near the handle. Make sure you only rub a very thin layer of oil into the pan, otherwise you'll end up with uneven streaks and a finish which is not as robust and durable. I generally wipe off the oil just as much as I've wiped it on prior to throwing it into the oven. In terms of what oils you can use, it's really up to you. I've read about countless different methods involving olive oil right through to avocado oil. I generally go with an oil with a high smoke point, such as rice bran or flax, as in my experience it bonds to the iron better, allowing to build a rock solid seasoning. The seasoning on my wok is very strong now, and it's difficult to even scrape it off with sharp metal utensils. Now that we've got a nice thin coat of oil over the entire wok, it's time to whack this thing into the oven. I usually make sure I'm using a cotton tea towel to put it into the oven so my fingertips don't get on the pan. Now once you're satisfied that you've got an adequate coat of oil on your pan, you've made sure you've rubbed it off just as much as you've rubbed it on. You want to put that into the oven on the highest setting for 90 minutes. When this is done, you want to repeat that process up to 6 times. You could probably get away with 1 or 2 times if you wanted. I went for 6 times just to make sure I got the most robust seasoning to start off with. Once you've done this, you're ready for your stovetop seasoning. So I've just got some rice bran oil here. Basically, I've had the pan over the stove for about 5-10 minutes just to get it nice and hot. You want to have this on a medium to high heat so you get the oil smoking. So once you've got the oil smoking, you want to continually rub the oil in until you've got a nice thin layer on there. You want that smoke to dissipate. Once the smoke's dissipated, you want to give it another layer and repeat the process. I usually do this for about 30 minutes, and once you've done that, you should have a nice black finish. And now we're ready to cook. So I thought I'd throw together a nice little fried rice. We've got some Chinese cabbage, onion, carrot, garlic, and a few sauces to season it with. As you can see, I've chopped up all the vegetables, set them aside. As we're doing wok cooking, we want to make sure that we've got everything prepared and ready to throw into the hot pan. We don't want to be chopping these up as we go, otherwise you're going to potentially stew your vegetables and you're not going to get those nice crunchy stir-fry tastes that you're after. So as you can see here, I'm throwing in a bit of oil into the pan. I want to wait until that's smoking. As soon as it's smoking, I'm throwing the onions and the garlic in. I'm just going to stir fry that for a couple of minutes, probably a little bit less actually. I've cut this video down, so it's a little bit difficult to voice over this stuff, hey? We whack the carrots in, carrots go in, wait a couple of minutes, we put our Chinese cabbage in and only want to do another minute or two. So overall you're probably looking at 5 minutes for the vegetables. Once you've got all the vegetables in and you're happy that they're at the sort of level of tenderness that you want them, we're ready to throw our eggs in. Cue the eggs in 1, 2, 3, come on eggs. I thought I cut this to there. Oh, here we go. So eggs are ready to go in. Crack 1, bingo. Crack 2, bingo. Now I like to give this a little bit of whirl around, let the eggs set just a little bit. As you can see here, I've got this nice fish spatula. I pretty much use this for everything these days. At first it scratches the cast iron slightly, but as you build your seasoning, it, the scratches, it's actually good for your seasoning because it gets rid of some of the bad stuff that's not sticking as well as it should be, and you can develop a stronger seasoning in the end. So now that we've got the rice in, we've stir fried that through, we're adding some soy sauce, some fish sauce, and that's about it really. It's a pretty simple stir fry, quite a healthy one. Oh, and we've also got some sesame oil, so yeah, it's a very healthy one, and I hope everyone enjoys it. Now, just on a final note, I really do hope that everyone who's had a look at this video goes and checks out Solidteknics products. They really are a great Australian company promoting sustainable cookware. Unfortunately, in today's day and age, there's so much crap out there which is contributing to landfill, and it's ultimately not great for the consumer. So I really do recommend that if you do have some cast iron that you can get your hands on that you've already got, go and do that. And if you're looking for something new, check these guys out.